Hello class, this is Mr. Paulson. Before we begin our presentation, let me draw your attention to the homework listed on the screen. Tomorrow, your position paper on viruses, are they living or non-living, is due. It must be submitted to Google Classroom. Also, the packet in front of you now should be brought to class every day this week. So, what are we going to discuss in this presentation? Today we're going to talk about classification. Our objective for today are how are living organisms grouped together. On our agenda, we'll discuss taxonomy, the modern classification system, and the project you'll be working on this week about the 6 kingdoms. So, classification. What is classification? In classification, we study the diversity of life by naming and grouping organisms. Taxonomy is the branch of biology that deals with classifying and naming organisms together. If we take a moment just to talk about classifying, you may classify things in your daily life and never even think about it. If you look into your backpack or locker, you may see, your binders where you store your class notes, a pen and pencil case where you keep all your writing instruments. You may see a separate bag inside with your lunch. Well, by separating all of those things, you've actually grouped them together. We'll talk more about this in a bit. If we look at the classification of organisms, we can also take a look at the history. Anyone know who this is? Well, this is a sculpture of Aristotle. If we take a look, Aristotle developed one of the very early systems of classifying life. And he classified life into 2 things, plants and animals. If we take a look at his classification system a little bit further, he actually grouped animals into 3 categories. Those that lived on land, those that lived in water, and those that spent time up in the air. As we look at the modern classification system, though, we're going to focus on a man named Carolus Linnaeus. We're going to call him Carl. He was around in the 1700s, and he developed a 7-component system for classifying organisms. If we take a look at his system, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species are the 7 components of his classification system. Kingdom is the component or the group that contains the most variety of organisms and the most number of organisms, all the way down to species, where we have the one specific group of organisms, right, that we're looking at, right? So if we just take a look at humans in binomial nomenclature, which we'll talk about tomorrow, our genus is Homo and our species is Sapiens. So how can we remember this? I always used the sentence King Philip came over for good spaghetti to remember the order of kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. Though at some point today, try and take some time on the side of this sheet and write your own sentence for a way that you could remember the order of our 7 components. If we just take a look a little bit further at our components, alright, we see the kingdom Animalia, and we can go down to phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species, and we could take a look at specific species. I want to focus, however, on this page. Let's just take a look at the kingdom Animalia again. We see a wide variety of organisms up at the top. We see the grizzly bear, the black bear, the giant panda, the red fox, all the way over to the sea star and the coral snake. So here we have a variety of different organisms that we may or may not be familiar with. As we keep going down from kingdom to phylum, we no longer see the sea star in chordata. We go to the class, Mammalia. Well, now we no longer see the coral snake. We go to the order, Carnivora. Well, now we no longer see the squirrel. It will be in its own order. If we keep going down to the genus, we're left with just the grizzly bear and the black bear in the genus Ursus. If we look specifically at the grizzly bear species, we see it is Ursus arctos. So, what comes before kingdoms? Kingdoms are actually grouped into 3 domains. Okay, so if we look at our 3 domains, these are before the kingdom level. We have bacteria. These are unicellular. They're prokaryotic. Prokaryotic refers to the idea that they have no nucleus. They have cell walls, and they live in diverse environments. Archaea. They are unicellular. They are prokaryotic. Again, no nucleus. Cell walls, and they live in extreme environments where there's high temperature, extreme pressure, high salinity. And our third and final domain is eukarya. These are organisms that can be unicellular or multicellular. They are eukaryotic, so they have a true nucleus. Some have cell walls, and they live in diverse environments as well. So, how are organisms classified into our various domains and then kingdoms, etc., going all the way down to our species? Well, structurally, right, taking a look at shape, form, and use of structures in each organism. Biochemically, through DNA, RNA, and proteins. Cytologically, through cell structures and number of chromosomes. To use an example from the previous slide, we referenced whether they're prokaryotic or eukaryotic, again meaning whether they have a nucleus or not. And embryologically, so the developmental stages. All right. And finally, our 6 kingdoms. What are they? Our 6 kingdoms are eubacteria, archaebacteria, protista, plants, fungi, and animalia. In today's project, and this week's project, you're going to be researching these 6 kingdoms with a group. Before I take some time to go over the project and the expectations I have for you, I want to draw your attention to this site, this page. Our project, a lot of the information that you'll need for it is in this packet. Also, some information will be on the website. So if you go to Biology Enriched, there's a tab for Kingdoms of Life. Part 1 that we're going to discuss today is going to be due by the end of class on Wednesday. Alright, it's going to be submitted to Classroom. There'll be a part 2 of the lab that we'll talk of the project that we'll talk about at the beginning of class on Wednesday, and that'll be due at the end of class on Friday. Yes, if you please turn to the next page of your student work packet for the week, we'll take a look at the Kingdom of Life project. And in doing so, I have great news for you. A major theme park has decided to locate their newest theme park facility in our community. They're going to call it Kingdoms of Life. At this theme park, organisms and habitats of each of the kingdoms that we just gave you the names for are going to be represented. In this theme park, it's going to be a place where young and old can come and have fun, learn about the different kinds of organisms that make up the world around them, and learn about how they're lived. And even more exciting, it's going to be up to you to design the park, plan the attractions, and ultimately choose what organisms are going to be represented from each kingdom in the park. So part 1 of our project for the week is a little bit of the background. In a moment, I'm going to tell you your groups, and you're going to be divided into groups of 4 to 6 people. Within your group, you must decide who will research each kingdom. So there's 6 kingdoms, so there are a total of 6 research topics. I would like you to use the research guide that I'll show you in a minute to fill out information about your kingdom. You want to be specific, okay? You want to be specific, include facts such as cell type, body form, cell wall composition, and mode of nutrition. All right. I want to have a good feel for what your specific kingdom is all about. From there, you're going to thoroughly research 3 organisms. You could pick any 3 organisms from that kingdom you'd like. Try and get a variety of different organisms. And you're going to collect data about those organisms because those organisms are going to be featured in your theme park class. So I just switched over to my Google Docs, and this is, if you turn the page, this sheet is also in your packet, though it's a little bit different. This Google Doc has actually been shared with you and all of your classmates. And if we just see, it gives room for each of you to work on your specific kingdom, whether you choose Animalia, Plantae, Eubacteria, Archaebacteria, Fungi, or Protista. You could type your information directly onto this Google Doc. That's the first part of what you have to do before Wednesday. The second part, if you scroll down to the organism research, right, I already identified what kingdom is each page. Please fill in your researcher name. You could type that right in. This one will be for Eubacteria, the next page for Archaebacteria, so on and so forth. For your organisms, again, you're going to choose 3. I want to know the phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species of your organism. I also want to know the common name of it. Then I want you to go through and take a look at these questions. Is your organism multicellular or unicellular? Describe its cellular structure and organization. How does it obtain food? What does the organism eat? How does the organism move around? What is the normal size or size range of the organism? How does the organism reproduce? What is the environmental function or importance of the organism? And what type of habitat does the organism need to survive? Remember, you're looking to design a theme park, so all of this information, what it eats, what type of environment it's going to live in, is going to be really important to know when planning your park. Also, this document will be submitted on Wednesday directly to Google Classroom. Only one of your group members will need to submit it, so you can all work in this same document. Finally, I just jumped over to our website and I want to show you some useful information. If you go to Biology Enriched and you click on the 6 Kingdoms project, first we'll see, extra documents, a link to our Google Classroom page, and a calendar of when different parts of the project are due. Again, part 1 will be due on Wednesday. If we just take a look, we'll also find our groups. For period 6, we have group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, and for period 8 we have group 1, group 2, group 3. Please pause the presentation so students can look at the groups. Okay. One last thing I would like to point out to you. There are helpful websites listed. Right. We have 6 Kingdoms, Intro to Plants, Eubacteria, so you can use these to start, but please try and find some of your own websites as well, and be sure to cite your sources, or at least include the websites you retrieved them from. Good luck, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.